am so grateful. I got so lucky that I have two executive producers that not only knew how to make a great show, but make a great show for me.
Ellen DeGeneres' fall from grace has stirred up plenty of conversation. But how did this icon of kindness find herself at the center of such controversy? Let's find out. Ellen DeGeneres has been quite vocal about feeling ousted from Hollywood not just once, but twice. The first time was around in the late 90s, which unfortunately led to the cancellation of her sitcom, Ellen, due to some reasons. Fast forward to 2020, and she's claiming Hollywood gave her the cold shoulder again, but this time for being labeled as mean after accusations regarding a toxic workplace on her show, The Ellen DeGeneres Show. During a stand-up routine in West Hollywood, she shared these experiences, sparking quite a bit of chatter. She joked about the irony of being branched unkind in an industry not exactly famed for niceness. There is no mean people in show business. The be kind girl wasn't kind, she told the audience. Ellen also added a sharp remark about how her public image had been reduced to that of a cheerful figure who danced upstairs and distributed gifts. Do you know how hard it is to dance up steps? She questioned, challenging the crowd, and guess what? She humorously suggested that if she had ended her show with a blunt, "Go fish yourself," people might have actually been pleasantly surprised. To top it all off, Ellen quipped about possibly being ousted a third time for being mean and old. Now, let's talk about what actually happened in 2020. As the Ellen DeGeneres Show rose in popularity over the years to become a daytime TV favorite, whispers started to suggest that Ellen might not be as kind as she portrayed on the show. And guess what? These whispers turned into loud conversations later. It all began with an interview in November that felt off, hinting that behind the smiles, something was wrong. Celebrities soon joined the conversation. Some defended Ellen, but others backed up the troubling stories. The mix of voices gave more people the courage to speak up about their bad experiences on the show, sharing how they faced discrimination, harassment, and a lot of fear. Then came July, and boy, did things blow up. BuzzFeed dropped not one, but two huge reports that revealed some pretty upsetting stuff about the show's work environment. The first report included stories from 10 people who used to work there. One woman who is black shared how she faced racist comments from colleagues. Ellen responded pretty quickly to these stories. She sent out a letter to her team admitting she missed signs of trouble as the show got bigger. She trusted other people to run things the way she would have wanted, but it turned out that some of them didn't follow her values at all. Ellen promised. Clearly, some didn't. That will now change, and I'm committed to ensuring this does not happen again. But that wasn't the end of it. The same day the first report came out, another one followed with even more claims. This time, 36 former staff members spoke up about some really serious stuff, like being harassed by the big bosses of the show. These were the people Ellen had put in charge, and the things they were accused of were shocking. Ellen always said her show was meant to be a happy place where no one would ever be mean and everyone would be treated nicely. On day one of our show, I told everyone in our first meeting that the Ellen DeGeneres Show would be a place of happiness. No one would ever raise their voice and everyone would be treated with respect. She reminded everyone in her apology. The response from Warner Bros. Was to launch an investigation to understand the full scope of these allegations and the day-to-day culture at the show. But here's the kicker. Despite Ellen's claims of ignorance, some employees believe she was aware of the toxicity, but chose to turn a blind eye. She knows, one former employee alleged, she knows stuff goes on, but also she doesn't want to hear it. Remember Dakota Johnson's 30th birthday party? Well, during a seemingly casual chat on Ellen's show, Ellen joked about not being invited, but Dakota corrected her on the spot, saying, "Actually, no, that's not the truth. Ellen, ask everybody, ask Jonathan, your producer." Turns out, Ellen had been invited after all. A staff member confirmed it off camera. Ellen, trying to save face, shrugged it off, saying she had a prior engagement, joking it was probably in Malibu. That's too far for me to go. But why does this matter, you ask? Well, this slip led to some serious eyebrow raising about Ellen's authenticity. And then there was the controversy at a Dallas Cowboys game. The very next day after the party, Ellen was seen laughing it up with George W. Bush. Now, why would that matter? Ellen, a celebrated LGBTQ icon, sitting with a former president known for policies that weren't exactly LGBTQ friendly. Just when you thought it couldn't get worse, it did. In March, a podcast host threw out a challenge online promising to donate a food bank for every mean story about Ellen. The tweet exploded. No fact-checking, just pure viral attention. Suddenly, Twitter was buzzing with tales of Ellen's less-than-kind behavior. Amidst all this, the COVID-19 pandemic hit, and like many shows, Ellen's went remote. While Ellen was broadcasting from her home, her crew was left in the dark. Reports emerged about drastic pay cuts and a lack of communications. Things were spiraling. Ellen, known on her show for generous giveaways, seemed less generous with her own staff during a global crisis. To top of the insensitivity, Ellen tweeted that being in quarantine was being like in jail, which did not sit well with many. In December 2016, Ellen disclosed to the New York Times that being a nice person sometimes felt restrictive. She admitted that while the person in the talk show is genuinely her, it's also partly a character she plays, a talk show host version of Ellen DeGeneres. In response, Ellen didn't shirk responsibility. She admitted oversight was lacking as her show grew, promising change and more personal involvement. But here's a twist. Despite the uproar, celebrity friends like Katy Perry and Ashton Kutcher came to her defense with their own positive experiences. Yet other celebrities like Brad Garrett and Leigh Thompson supported the complaints of former employees, stating they weren't surprised by the allegations. The chatter didn't stop just at criticisms. People online began suggesting potential replacements for Ellen, imagining a new host in her TV throne. Names like James Corden popped up, known for his carpool karaoke segments. He's another host known as Genuinely Kind. But despite the speculations and controversies, Ellen's show wasn't going anywhere. Andy Lassner, the executive producer, confirmed on Twitter that the show would return from its summer break with Ellen leading the way. This whole situation opens up a broader conversation about celebrity culture in the age of social media. People no longer expect or even want their celebrities to be perfect 24/7. In fact, seeing a celebrity's more human, vulnerable side can make them more relatable. During a recent performance, Ellen DeGeneres humorously reflected on the sequence of events that led to the cancellation of her talk show in 2022 by Warner Bros. After a series of controversies. "I'm giving stuff away, and I danced. Then I was mean, and they didn't like me again," she joked about it. Ellen openly shared the emotional impact these events had on her, describing the toll on her self-esteem and ego. "It's been such a toll on my ego and my self-esteem. There's such extremes in this business. People either love you and idolize you, or they hate you, and those people somehow are louder," she explained. As she wrapped up her show, she engaged in an informal chat with fans, expressing confusion and hurt over how her career seemed to be concluding. "This was a whole different thing," she remarked, puzzled by the rapid shift in her life. "I couldn't do anything to make myself understand that it wasn't personal," she admitted, struggling to come to terms with the end of her show. "I just hated the way the show ended," Ellen confessed, revealing her deep affection for her long-running show and her disappointment with its abrupt end. Both Ellen and her wife, Portia de Rossi, took some time away from the public eye to recover from the ordeal. Ellen shared a poignant reflection on the difficulty of maintaining her usual spirited demeanor through the challenges. "It's hard to dance when you're crying," but she affirmed to her audience, "But I'm dancing now," signaling a resilient return to positivity and public life. Ellen DeGeneres went from being really liked to having lots of problems with her show. Some people said she wasn't nice behind the scenes. There were stories about her staff being treated badly. Ellen said she didn't know about it. Her show got cancelled because of all this drama, and now people are wondering if she can fix her reputation and come back, or if it's too late. What do you think? Do you think she can make a successful comeback, or has her reputation suffered irreparably? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights.